Mind a few minutes, Josh, baby.
Okay, here we go.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I don't know my script.
Hi, Joe.
Welcome to the Rotary Club of Edina. I'm your host, Josh Sprague, proud president of the #1 club in the universe. I'd like to extend a special welcome to all the Zoomers out there, all our visiting Rotarians and guests of our speaker. We want to welcome you online to this great meeting. We have a great program and some great youth service announcements as well, starting with a message about Rotary Connects the World from current Director of Youth Service, David Ozzie. Let's take a look. Before we start, please remember to mute yourself during presentations. If you can, rename yourself in the participants list. We do take attendance and take pictures of the participant list so that we can reconcile that with the registration. Feel free to add comments to the chat, and during the question and answer, you can either raise your hand on your video or ask questions in the chat. And now, a video from David Ozzie, Youth Service Director.
When I was in high school, the only thing I knew about Rotary was the youth exchange program. It wasn't until my late 20s where I was just kind of interested in checking it out, seeing what it was all about, and I think I just Googled Edina Rotary. Josh Sprague was the membership director. Reached out to him, he said, hey, let's grab coffee, so we did that, and he invited me to a meeting. And from there, it just kind of, it was like, you know, it was like peeling the onion. So Rotary connects the world. I think what it comes down to is relationships and making those connections with people. It's not the stuff that you have, it's not the amount of money that you make, it's personal relationships and connections. And I think that has a long lifetime, you know, lasting impact on people. And I think people make all the difference.
Way to go, David. Thank you for that message. All right. And now I'd like to thank today's volunteers who helped make this meeting possible, and invite past board member and club mascot, Mark Jessen, to lead us in the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and four-way test. Mark.
Thanks, Josh, I think. Let's bow our heads. Dear Lord, these are unique times. We pray for those who have lost loved ones, that you provide them comfort as they are tasked with honoring the memory of those who have passed without being able to gather as family and friends to help console each other. We pray for those who are fighting illness themselves or dealing with sick family or friends when our traditional healthcare system and resources are challenged and the path to recovery is difficult to see. We pray for those who are working tirelessly and at personal risk every day to provide care to those who are sick. Those who work tirelessly and at personal risk to provide safety to our community, and those who work tirelessly and at personal risk to provide necessary services for so many under such adverse circumstances. And finally, we pray for our government leaders who have the unique and unprecedented task of navigating our economy out of a pandemic shutdown. Provide wisdom as they attempt to strike a balance between compassion and commerce, as they attempt to define the line between safety and economic opportunity. And finally, help them to utilize the power of compromise to lead us forward as a stronger community, state, and nation. Amen. And
okay,
now,
let me grab the Pledge of Allegiance for you, Mark.
Thanks. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the United States of America
America,
and to the republic
to the republic,
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth?
truth,
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Okay. We have some announcements today, starting with the governor's executive order. Just wanted to make sure everyone knows that gatherings of more than 10 people are prohibited now through May 31st. As with all of our programs right now, it's kind of week to week, but it looks like the first and possibly the second week of June will still be on the Zoom meeting format. So I want to encourage everyone to sign up for Bridget Hallstrom's training this Monday. It'll be Zoom training number 3, and information will go out on that shortly. In addition, about half of you have taken our member survey relating to meeting formats and what you like. And so I'd encourage the rest of you, if we haven't done that, Jennifer Hendrickson, my co-host here, will put that survey link in the chat. It's also gone out to you via Club Runner email, but take a look at that and make sure you get that completed as well so we can give you the best possible service. And then lastly, on member services, we have a new text notification service. All you have to do is text Rotary to 22452, and then those meeting links for our weekly Zoom meetings, or when we go back to in-person, the speaker format and so on will come to you via text a day or two before, just another way for us to keep you informed. And now Jennifer Benarat has an announcement about Edina High School scholarships. Jennifer.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Jennifer Benarat, and this year I had the privilege of chairing our Youth Scholarship Committee. I am pleased today to announce that we are awarding 2 deserving Edina High School graduates with $1,500 scholarships. We give these awards each year to seniors who exemplify our motto of service above self and have participated in our Rotary programs like Camp Enterprise, Camp Ryla, our Fall Ethics Seminar, Vocational Ethics Day, Youth Exchange, or of course the Interact Club of Edina. This year's scholarships are being presented to Camden Glass and Amrutha Garamella. I think they're both on the call today. You've seen Amrutha a lot as president of the Interact Club, and Camden has been involved with many of our programs, most notably Youth Exchange. So please join me in congratulating these 2 fine people for their success in high school and wishing them the best of luck in the future.
Way to go. Would Camden, would you like to say a few words? Are you here with us?
I am here with us. Can you guys hear me?
I sure can.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I'd like to thank you guys for this opportunity. My youth exchange experience was, I mean, not like any other thing I've ever experienced before. I got the opportunity to go to Camp E last fall, and I got to learn firsthand information about entrepreneurship and business models. So I'd like to thank the Edina Rotary Club for these opportunities and scholarship.
Awesome. Thanks, Camden. You also got to go on that great outbound exchange to Italy, which we all wish we had done before the pandemic.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, I know. I want to go back as soon as I can. Yeah.
We appreciate you joining us for the call, and congratulations. Do we have, are you Artie Garamella's sister?
Yes, I am.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you.
And Artie was on our Zoom Rotary happy hour call, Zooming actually from her college. And Artie, for those of you who don't know, Artie is the past president of the Interact Club of Edina. So tell us about your scholarship and your plans for next year.
First of all, I want to say thank you for the scholarship. I will be going to UW-Madison, and Rotary for me has been a big part of service. I got involved because of my sister back in 10th grade, and it started with like the Skate to End for like polio fundraiser. And from there, I just loved it, and I love the mission, and I love like helping out my community. And one of the biggest impacts I took away from Rotary is definitely the different ethics speakers we've had at the vocational day, as well as ethics seminars every year. And I still remember some of the stories these speakers told, and it comes up in my mind time to time when I'm thinking of like moral dilemmas. And I think that it's been something that's definitely impactful, because as I go to college, like the idea of service and giving back to my community is definitely going to be there. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
And we're so glad to hear the seeds of Interact spreading within the family. That's awesome. So we wish you well next year.
Thank you.
We're going to need young leaders like you in Camden in the future to get us through these times. So great to hear about this. Okay, and now we have an announcement from our current Interact Club president, Ashna Kumar, daughter of Rotary Club of Edina member Raj Kumar. Ashna, are you here with us? Okay. So we'll get that update another time from Ashna. She perhaps couldn't make the call today. Let's go on to Mark Gasner. Are you here?
I am. Can you hear me?
Great. So we would love to hear an update from the Rotary Club of Edina.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate Rotary and your support as a club. We're just grateful for the opportunity to serve our community in any way we can. Where we are currently is we've kind of gone silent the last couple months, just trying to figure out where our place is with everything going on with COVID-19. But we're very excited that we have an upcoming board. We just handled board elections for next year and have a wonderful board that's going to be in place for the next fiscal year. And I'll still be on the board next year, but our other members or other board members have moved on either to new career paths or have gotten busy in their careers where they've stepped down. But we are so thankful for their time on our board. But this year, it really comes down to vision. We felt we've lacked a compass in figuring out our direction for what are we. We wanted to jump into service and social and speakers all at once. And really, I think what it comes down to is honing in on a vision here for the next 2020, 2021 year. And we're looking forward to that. So if you have anybody, any young leaders in the community that you think would be interested in Rotaract, our email is rotaractclubofedina@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook and continue to excel in that area as much as we can. And you can also reach out to either Josh or Sam Thompson to get more information, and they can pass it along to me. But again, I just wanted to thank you guys for your support. We're slowly growing and slowly figuring out our identity. And with all of it, there comes growing pains, but we're trying to be as resilient as we can. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Mark. And we appreciate you guys supporting us with a Sip and Serve event recently with Rotary International Director Stephanie Urchik, and all the different collaboration we've done with you, and for your steady leadership through these times. This is the time when we're most appreciative of you, Mark. So thanks again. Looks like I may have the president, Ashna Kumar from Interact. She was having some trouble logging in. Ashna, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much for waiting.
Welcome. It's such an honor to have you with us today. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with Interact at the high school.
Well, obviously, the high school is closed right now, so we had to cancel our normal monthly in the morning meetings. But we're still planning for next year, and we still got to have Skate to End Polio, which I'm sure you all heard was very successful. Everybody had fun. We campaigned. We had a little prize for an Interact member that got the most people to be there. And we basically had fun and raised money for End Polio Now. And then what we're continuing to do, we're going to have our elections for next year. So if you know any students at Edina High School, even newcomers, we'd love to have them join the club. I can put in the chat the information for that. And basically we're going to have an election. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to have like a little Google form and we're going to have everyone vote. So that should be coming up very soon. And then also continuing on to next year, I think we're going to work on continuing projects during the summer, because obviously during this time, there's a lot we can do to help other people. So we're working on projects like that.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate your creative leadership right now. We're all getting tested with these things that we didn't see coming. And it sounds like you guys are making a pivot and keeping the club vital, and we appreciate that. What are your plans for next year?
Our plans for next year, obviously, we're gonna I hope to continue the monthly morning meetings, and we are planning on having a skate to end polio. I'm not sure how this will work, but we're going to try to team up with Shelter Box in some way. And then during the summer, I think we're going to work on like relief for people having trouble with COVID, showing volunteer opportunities for making masks, etc. at home. And then our leadership has been getting together over Zoom calls to do all of this.
So you guys like the Zoom too versus Google Meet, huh?
Well, for school, we usually use Google Meet, but I don't know how to set up my own meeting, so.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Ease of use is a good thing.
Yes. And then with the new board, we're going to have that ready in a couple weeks. So with the new board, we're going to come up with new ideas, because I'm sure everybody has stuff to share with that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for finding us today, and hope you have a great day.
Sorry about the technical difficulties.
If you need anything, we'll always be here for you. Thanks again, Ashna.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and now we're moving on to our youth exchange presentation from our exchange student, Rosario Reyes. Rosario, I will forward the slides for you as you call for it. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Rosario Marin, and I'm a Rotary Youth Exchange student from Chile. Before I start my presentation, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this meeting and have a chance to tell for where I'm from. Can you go to the next one? About Chile. Our Independence Day is September 18th. Chile from north to south expands approximately 3,000 miles, and it has a population of around 19 million. Our current president is Sebastián Piñera. Can you go to the next one? So Chile has 3 different zones defined by climate: north, central zone, and south. I live in the central zone. So next one. Can you go to the next one? Yeah. The north is situated from Arica and Parinacota region to Coquimbo. It is known for the famous desert of Atacama, mining, and astrology. So the next one. Central zone, where I live, goes from the region of Valparaíso, my city, to the region of El Maule. The central zone, tourist activities are skiing, hiking, and visiting different beaches and vineyards. So in the third picture, in the bottom, can you go to one before? In the bottom, that is my city. It's 2 minutes away of my house, and the picture in the top of that one is Valparaíso. So that city is known for graffitis and street art. The next one, please. The south goes from Biobío region to the Antarctica. Tourists visit places like Patagonia, rodeos, and volcanoes. So the third picture in the bottom of the rodeos, I took that in the south of Chile, and it's like 13 hours of where I live. The next one. About Rotary in Chile. Rotary in Chile was founded April 13 of 1923 when during a lunch at Lucian restaurant when Julio Navarro Ponzo, a return from Buenos Aires, Argentina, explained to Aurelio Cruzat, Miguel Marin Nates, my great-grandfather, and Austin Turner about Rotary International. That day, these four amazing gentlemen founded Rotary Valparaiso, the first Rotary club in Chile. In the pictures, that was my last presentation of my exchange before I came here, and the group in the bottom is the US exchange student. Can you go to the next one, please? So about my city, Viña del Mar is a very touristy city due to the incredible coast that attract many people in all season of the year because it's not too cold and too hot. So it's a city that you can know in all seasons. Can you go to the next one, please? So I live specifically in Concon, where my school is located. And as you can see in the picture, my school is only for girls and we wear uniforms every day. And it's kind of a small school because we're only girls and then we have the twin school. But I think that is so much fun and it's different with the experience that I have here at Edina. Can you go to the next one, please? About my family. My family were 5 plus our dog Volko, named as the first helicopter that my dad knew how to fly. I have 2 older brothers, Miguel and Nicolas, who are both studying law at college. And then my dad is a retired Navy officer, but now he works as a pilot, and my mom has her own bakery. Next one, please. As a family, we really enjoy doing different activities in all seasons of the year. So we go hiking in different regions of Chile, we go skiing, we go flying sometimes around. We love going fishing and walking in all regions. Can you go to the next one? So these are all my pictures that you can see. That is my dad, that are different lakes in my volcano. So it's by the crater and it's like really fun to go up there. Can you go to the next one? Oops. There are more pictures in the next slide. So that's our sunset in my city, hiking in different high school and from my hockey club because I play field hockey. So these are my best support with my family and I miss them, but I did this experience because of they support me. And finally, I want to thank you so much for giving me this amazing opportunity to travel to the US. And I want to thank all my host family, the Glass and Hogans, to Rotary of Edina and Edina High School for the support and this amazing experience I will never forget because of you. And that's all.
Thank you so much, Rosario. What a great presentation. And we hope you've had a very fruitful time here in the United States. Of course, we're sorry for the way it's ending, but I know you had a great experience with your host families, and I hope you got to do a lot of great things around the Twin Cities. It was a real honor to host you. And I hope to see you again soon, somewhere out there. Maybe we'll come visit that beach community you're in. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and drop the Rotary flag. So yeah, I need to give you this, my Rotary flag from Chile.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for being with us. So now it's time for today's program, and it's my honor and privilege to introduce Dr. Joachim Yogi Repman. Yogi was born in Flensburg, Germany in 1957. He attended the Altus Gymnasium, a school founded by Danish King Frederick II in 1566. He matriculated at the University of Kiel, where he studied history, American literature, and philosophy. In 1984, he completed his master's thesis entitled Ideas, the Concept of Freedom and Democracy of the Schleswig-Holstein 48ers. Origins and Effects, 1846 to 1856. He has written several books on notable Schleswig-Holstein immigrants and the mass migration to the United States during that time. Yogi has also served as a professor of German at St. Olaf and Carleton colleges, and has chaired several conferences on topics ranging from the Low German language to 48er Hans Riemer Clausen. Yogi lives in Northfield with his wife Gita and is a member of the Northfield Rotary Club. Please help me give a warm Edina Rotary welcome to Yogi Repman.
Thank you, Josh. A wonderful introduction. Let's welcome our visitors. Gopi, the nickname from our Rotarian friend in India, Chennai, Rotary Club, Madras, formerly Madras. Later, I will talk about him because he is part of the Peace Pipe project. Then we used to have Bernd Brandesdruber, Rotary Club Kiel, the capital of my home state, Schleswig-Holstein. I think he had to leave. And it's wonderful to have my close friend, Tom Gump. He was crucial for the success of this whole story. Otherwise, I wouldn't give the talk today. And even more fun to have my long time ago drinking buddy, Rick Kleber. Your member when I became a Rotarian in Northfield. Rick was my favorite Rotarian. I love them all, but Rick is still my all-time #1 Rotarian. So I just saw him on the picture. Please move to the next slide, George. 2016, Tony Kahn, the guy in the green shirt, came from Keokuk, Iowa, Rotary Club to Northfield into our living room. Why? Charlie Cogan, a Rotarian from Northfield, had met him in Rochester at a PETS seminar. And Tony mentioned that in the bank safe in Keokuk of a former Rotarian of his Rotary Club Keokuk, they had found this gigantic binder in front of us. And these were the answers, 201 letters from all over the world, which had answered to a peace initiative of his club in 1931. Next slide, please.
Moin, moin. Yogi Repman, Rotary Club, Northfield, Minnesota, and Flensburg. I'm a historian from Northern Germany, and I have the pleasure to meet two wonderful Rotarian friends from Jerusalem. Dieter, who is from Hamburg originally, Ochsenzoll, Hamburg. Just say something about your club.
Our club was the first one in then Palestine, chartered in 1929, and this is the interesting thing, chartered on the initiative of Rotary in Cairo. In those days, the borders were different than from today.
Thank you, Dieter. Dan, thank you for coming to Flensburg. As you and I like this letter from December 23rd, 1931, highly moving. The Peace Pipe project, this new chapter, 2019, what does it mean to you?
It means a lot for a very practical reason. First of all, I'm sure you're aware of the situation in the Middle East, let alone the fact that there are two clubs in Jerusalem, an Arab club and a Jewish club, that don't speak to each other.
Oh, shit.
That you can cut out. But basically, you have to realize that the beauty of this letter, that I'm just as enthusiastic as you are, was the fact that somebody there wrote, we are coming from so many different backgrounds, Jewish and Arabs and Americans and Brits and we disagree about a lot of things, but we are Rotarians, and that's what keeps us together. If you, and I throw a challenge at you, if you want to revive a concept of somehow, not in the same way necessarily, but bringing people together, start with Rotary in Palestine and Israel.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dieter. A pleasure. Have a good time. Many highballs. Moin, moin.
Moin, moin.
Well, I just wanted to give you the range. We started with a history project, 1931, very special for a historian, high pressure, like an overdoses of cocaine, finding these answers from all over the world, Rotary clubs, which had written to the Rotary Club of Keokuk, Iowa. Then in 2019, last summer, a day before the World Convention of Rotary had started in Hamburg, 2 huge buses showed up at our German apartment, and these 2 friends from Jerusalem. And you may imagine, as a German, before the backdrop of Shoah and so on, to have these visitors was already great. But then one of these guys said, well, you better move your happy butt to Jerusalem and build a bridge to the Arab Rotary Club. And we are working on that. It's next to impossible because in the last years, everybody in the West Bank, Gaza Strip, Lebanon, Jordan, who is talking to Israeli is a traitor. And the elderly guy, Dan Sharnett, is a retired heart surgeon, and he was the boss for many years of the Shimon Peres Peace Center in Israel. And with his team, he had operated on 8,000 little Palestinian babies with heart problems. So even he, with that legacy, doesn't have a contact. We have now built up a contact to the Arab Club, to the president. And we are working on a project to get ventilators from a company in my German home state over to that Arab Club, but it is not easy. This is how everything really got started. In St. Paul, the nowadays world president Mark gave a speech, and I was curious, bad weather. I showed up kind of too early and ran into Irene Kelly. And I said, well, my wife is from Hamburg. I had studied in Hamburg. And then she said, you must meet Tom Gump, because Tom had the wonderful job to put a delegation of, I think, 40 people or so from southern Minnesota, Rotarians who wanted to go to the World Convention. And they looked for a meeting place, 2 hours for that group outside of the convention, but it was outrageous expensive. So then I said, well, we have a nice old town, large apartment. Let's have a party in Flensburg. Next slide, please. Yeah. Before that, after 2 weeks after meeting Tom Gump, we had an invite, Rotary Club Cannon Falls, Tony Conn, third from right. Very bad weather. Interstate 35 was closed because of snow, but he made it at midnight that day to Northfield. We drank highball all night, and at 7 a.m. breakfast meeting together with Charlie Cogan, we gave a talk about the peace pipe letters, the very first talk. And that was so much fun that we decided, let's publish a book. Next slide. That is the logo of the letters. 1931, a Rotarian. Next slide, please. William Jewett Fulton, born 1897 from Keokuk, president of Midwest Carbine Company, made it with his wife Louisa to Vienna, Austria in June 1931. There was the World Convention, the first Rotary Convention in Europe. And after that World Convention, Jewett and his wife traveled 3 months all over Europe, going to Munich, Oktoberfest, Hofbräuhaus, meeting the Rotarians whom he met already in Vienna, from the minutes we know, they had a wonderful beer party all night. And he sensed growing nationalism, not only in Germany, Italy, Spain, but all over Europe, Belgium, France. And that impression, when he came back in Tokyo-kak in early December, he started to write, typing by himself in those days, 504 letters. Every Rotary Club outside of the United States, in China, there were several clubs on Cuba, saying, well, let's symbolically smoke the peace pipe. And he had not the deeper understanding there will be the Second World War, but he felt that problems are brewing up. And interestingly enough, the first answer was from Mexico. That letter went out on December 3rd, and already December 11th, the answer from Mexico, the Rotary Club of Chihuahua, had answered. 201 replies, 40% from all over the world. And the most amazing letter was from Jerusalem, which we will see later. Next slide, please. That is one of these letters with the logo written for peace. Paul Harris was informed, communicated, supported Jewett Fulton. So the whole Rotary family of the whole world got excited. Next slide, please. For a German, not only as a historian, this is the Rotary Club of Braunau in the formerly Czech Republic. And there was a huge German minority. So the Rotary Club president answered in German to that English letter. And Braunau, I didn't know that, but Braunau, well, before the backdrop of German history, Adolf Hitler was born and raised in Braunau, Austria. But this is a second tiny Czech town with a Rotary Club. Next slide, please. Rotary Club of Munich. I just mentioned already the secretary, Emil Hirsch, together with 3 other Jewish members, and Thomas Mann, Protestant from my home state, was kicked out of that Rotary Club in May 1933. Hitler came into power end of January 1933, and already a few weeks later, the president of Rotary wrote to the Jewish members, "You must leave." And the most important, famous member, a founding member, Thomas Mann, who had received the Literature Nobel Laureate in 1929, born and raised in my home state of Schleswig-Holstein, northern Germany. He was on vacation in Switzerland. He was kicked out as well because he was opposing Hitler. And later he lived in Pacific Palisades. I will talk about that later a little bit more. So you see, with these letters, they make a little fun, these Rotarian friends. They say, well, the smoking the peace pipe is fun. One of our members is running a brewery in Munich. We would love to send you beer over to Keokuk. Because of prohibition, you guys would destroy it in America. So next time, please come back to Munich. Next slide, please. This is the exciting letter from Jerusalem a day before Christmas. And I will read the passage which got me started really to publish the book, which is the second paragraph, kind of. It reads, "We have all sorts in our club represented, and we all find in Rotary a common meeting ground in spite of differences of race, religion, and tongue. We have strong Zionists and equally strong anti-Zionistic Arabs in the club, Britishers Americans and Germans. And they all meet amicably as Rotarians, although acutely disagreeing on most other points. One of my warmest friends is a German surgeon who, as a combatant officer, faced the trenches in France in which I was serving. So you will see that we are ourselves a sort of living pipe of peace, always being smoked. And before that backdrop, we would love to build a bridge to the Arab Rotary Club in East Jerusalem. Next slide, please. The answer is amazing communication between the clubs. Next slide, please. These are the two buses on June 2nd, the day before the World Convention of Rotary started in Hamburg. Next slide. We welcomed them with some Bavarian music. Next slide. 4 p.m. we had prepared 150 highballs, a lot of bourbon, and a dash of Schweppes ginger ale. We love that drink. Next slide, please. So we started the party at 4 p.m. and Tom Gump, can Tom Gump give just 2 sentences about the party?
Moi, moi. Good to see you, Yogi. The party was wonderful. It was absolutely fantastic. We had Rotarians from all over the world. We filled up the 2 tour buses that you saw. We were all there to learn about the Peace Pipe project. It went to late at night. There was a trip over to Denmark, which was farther out, where we had the world's best hot dogs down by the water. Visited a Denmark castle. It was just a wonderful day and made lots of friends. Thank you, Yogi, for organizing all that.
Great, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. Bragging about oneself. So it's nice to have a party animal like you. Tom, thank you for your wording. Josh, the next slide. Tony Conn talking out of our sleeping room with a peace pipe because the apartment was not big enough. So the backyard was part of the party area. Josh, please, the next slide. These are the Jewish friends with Tony Conn from Keokuk in our entrance hall. Next slide, please. Again, the 2 guys, but we just jump to the next slide, please, Joel. Tom, a Rotarian from California. I wanted to interview him, and he said, Yogi, it was so crowded in Hamburg, and it was very difficult. Without Tom Gump, we never would have gathered the Rotarians from all over the world to the buses. And Tom just saw that people are moving to the bus, and he jumped on the bus and showed up at a party, and he had no idea what will happen. So unfortunately, our Rotarian friends from South Africa, Johannesburg and Madras, today Shamai Gopi is a Rotarian. They didn't make it to the bus, but it's great that Gopi is today with us at the show, and later we have hopefully a short time for discussions. Next slide, please. Tony Conn, next slide, please. This is what Tom Gump said, the Danish hot dogs near our German apartment at the Danish side of the Flensburg Fjord are the best, world best Danish hot dogs. Next slide, please. And the summer castle of the Danish Queen. So we had a little excursion early evening before we kept on partying in our apartment. Next slide, please. This was the logo, Tom Gump and Tony Conn, out of thousands of Rotarians in the entrance area of the convention center because of these 2 logos. And Tom managed to get everybody out of these thousands, which is a little miracle. The party nearly was crashed before it had started, but we made it. Next slide, please. That was the banner which Tony Conn brought along from Keokuk. Next slide, please. Somebody wrote already, a Rotarian in Scott County, Devonport, about the project. Next slide, please. That is the book, letter size, 330 pages, with an introduction and so on, and $30, quite a book. But to see the different letterheads, the spirit of the time, how great Rotary worked in 1931 and so on. If there is an interest in your membership, Josh, dear Rotarian friends, we are more than happy to bring some books up to Josh doorstep, and then we can see if people would like to support us to buy a copy. Next slide, please.
Yogi, we got about 4 minutes left. I wanted to take some questions from the audience.
We are coming to the end. The
Okay.
President-elect Holger Knag, World President, supporting the new memberships, younger Rotarians, and Tom Gump works very closely with Holger. Holger is a great guy from our home state, longtime friend. Thank you, Josh, you are right. We stop here. That is a story I will tell you at the next Rotary meeting. Let's move to question and answers.
So thank you so much for being with us on short notice. I'm going to have Jennifer Hendrickson put the website for the project and for the books if anyone's interested. Put your questions into the chat, please. I have a quick question. So, you know, you read all these letters. What was your first major takeaway about the Rotary organization after reading all of these? Because you are not only an historian, you are a Rotarian. Tell me what that was like.
When I heard about that somebody, a Rotarian bank who owned a little bank in Keokuk, as a secretary in the 1930s had saved these letters, but then decades nobody knew about these letters. The guy who started the project, Jewett Fulton, had died 1972. I thought that's an amazing project. And then reading the letters, actually many were kind of polite in all kinds of languages, many in English, but German, Chinese, Spanish answers, South American, but the quality, the politeness, the style, the high class letterheads, logos, looking to the membership, the Rotary Club Darmstadt, Merck owning the largest pharmacy company. Dr. Karl Merck, sort of the founder of that, was the president at that year. Then the Berlin Rotary Club, Oskar Simpel, secretary, treasurer. He was later a big banker financier of the Nazi party. So looking to the members, the way how they communicated then later with each other, very moving, very impressive. One cannot be prouder nowadays to have that history, Josh.
I'm sure that informs your understanding of the founding of the United Nations and the Rotarians that were so involved from New York in that process as well. Did you make any connections there?
Well, the spirit that Rotarians, even with all these challenges like Rotary Club Munich and so on, the isolationism all over Europe, all over the world. And when you think about 1931, the unemployment rate was in 1931, 16%. 1932, wow. 23%. 30,000 businesses failed in 1931 in the US, daily rate by 133. There are many, 1932, 1,700 banks failed. All that is more familiar than we wish. So Josh, history doesn't repeat, but like Jerusalem, the answer with the problems, the challenges, Arabs, Jews, our situation in Europe, in the whole world, in America with unemployment and all our future problems now are so amazing. And that's why the letters, and we didn't know that years ago when we started working on them, that this early summer is very much in the tradition of the situation the peace pipe letters are kind of representing.
So they're coming back at a time when nationalism's rising again due to these economic circumstances. Tom Gump has a question. Yogi, what's the estimated monetary value of the letters? Are they insured?
That's a good point. Tony Khan in Keokuk is running the show. For Rotarians, it is priceless. For historians, it's amazing. But I'm not sure. Well, Paul Harris, his letters are probably collector's items, but I have to think about that, Josh. Thank you for mentioning that. Let's move to Gopi, because Gopi, it's nearly midnight in India, and he was from the very first beginning strongly interested. He is the historian, former Rotary Club Madras, now Chennai, and unfortunately his members, Tom Gump, Tony, and I, we didn't get out of the crowd to our party in Flensburg, 100 miles north of Hamburg. Gopi, please say the words of wisdom now.
I have a question.
Thank you.
I have a question. This is Ken Anderson.
Okay,
Can you hear me? Joachim, thank you so much for talking to us. My family is Danish, and they're from, some of my family members, as well as my wife's, are from Schleswig-Holstein, and have a history of that era, mainly in the 20s when they had the plebiscite. Anyways, quick question. Why did you name this group you had the 48ers? I know that was one of the wars with Denmark. I hate to bring that up, but, and then there was another one in '64.
Yes, Ken, very simple. I would love to come back. I have a PowerPoint, 1848, a democratic revolution all over Germany, all over Europe. My home state of Schleswig-Holstein in 1848 was a part of Denmark, and the democratic revolutionaries in Schleswig-Holstein, speaking high and low German, wanted to get out of Denmark and be part of a united future German state. The revolution failed. These amazing democratic revolutionaries all over Europe were kicked out. The only country to go to was America. The North Germans from my home state, in a chain migration via New Orleans, up the Mississippi, went to Davenport, eastern Iowa. But that is a different topic. Ken, let's exchange our telephone numbers via Josh. I will phone you later today. Let's move to Gopi. I'm afraid that we must meet Gopi. All of us Rotarians have a great friend in India. Gopi?
Yes, Yogi, thank you so much. And thank you, Josh, for having me here. I am Gopinath. Well, they call me Gopi. And I am a past president of the Rotary Club of Madras. We were founded in 1929. And, Keokuk wrote to us on 10th of December, 1931. And we replied pretty soon. In those days, I think the letters took quite a long time to reach, especially the other side of the world. And we replied on the 12th of January 12, 1932, and supporting the Peace Pipe project completely. And then, of course, this is, as you know, symbolic, as Yogi said. And we were so happy that we were at that time, there were only 4 clubs in India, including us. And two of the oldest club, which is the Rotary Club of Calcutta, and the Rotary Club of Madras, which is my club, which is in its 92nd year. We just entered our 92nd year. We replied. And you know, my president last year unfortunately missed the meeting at Flensburg, but then we are so happy to have this book, which Yogi sent us, and you know, we're so happy to see our own letter. So, and that's the peace pipe that he's holding. Yogi is holding there with you know, in his hands. And so, you know, I being a historian, this is of great interest to us. And my club is also amazed that we were so active and, you know, supported a world cause. And just one thing before I close, of the 2 world wars, the only city that got bombed was my city, which was called Madras. Our club is still Rotary Club of Madras, but then now the city's name is changed to Chennai. We were the only city to have been bombed on both the world wars, but of course it is not very, very you know, damaging. It is the harbor part of, we are a coastal city. We have a major harbor, and both the times the harbor was attacked. Once by the Germans and once by the Japanese. So that's it. So thank you so much for having me here. And it's just past midnight here in India.
Wow.
And I wanted to be here for Yogi's sake and for the peace pipe proposal's sake. Thank you very much.
Opie, thanks for sharing it. We got to get it wrapped up. Les Jones.
Thanks, Josh. Yogi, we want to thank you for speaking today on a Zoom meeting with Rotary. Really appreciate that. You know, there's sure a lot of different backgrounds that we all come from all around the world, but with Rotary, there is that common goal and that service above self. And for your talk today, we would like to make a donation in your name. And Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders who unite to take action and to create lasting change. And it's from literacy, peace, water, health. We're always working to better the world, and that's certainly what the Peace Pipe initiative shows. So in your honor, we're going to make a donation to Rotary's official disaster relief partner shelter box, which provides emergency shelter to families devastated by natural disaster and conflict around the world. Thank you again, Yogi.
Thanks so much, everybody. Just a quick reminder on a few things. Monday, May 18th, we have Zoom training number 3 with Bridget Hallstrom. If you haven't done that, if you don't know how to mute yourself or rename yourself in the chat, join us for that Zoom call. The invite will be going out soon. Next week, we also have our fireside chats via Zoom, which we're calling the Zoom Side Chat. You can see the hosts listed below. The invites are also going out for those. And then next Thursday via Zoom, we're going to have the Chris Ann Manolis Women in Leadership Award hosted by Jennifer Benarat. On Thursday, May 28th, we'll have another Zoom call, Zoo, from the University of Minnesota Office of Technology Commercialization. We'll be talking about the U of M support of businesses, small businesses, and startups in the Twin Cities. On June 3rd, we'll have our Zoom Rotary Happy Hour. And then that same week on June 4th, now due to the governor's extended orders, looks like we'll have another Zoom Rotary meeting with Stevie Ray. Our closing quote today comes from Menachem Begin, Israeli politician and the 6th Prime Minister of the State of Israel. Begin was born in 1913 in Belarus and graduated as a lawyer from University of Warsaw, Poland, fled to Lithuania when the Germans invaded Poland, and in 1942 emigrated to Palestine, where he got involved in the Israeli independence movement. Begin's most significant achievement as prime minister was the signing of a peace treaty with Egypt in 1979, for which he and Anwar Sadat shared the Nobel Prize for Peace. Begin said, "Peace is the beauty of life. It is sunshine. It is the smile of a child, the love of a mother, the joy of a father, the togetherness of a family. It is the advancement of man, the victory of a just cause, the triumph of truth. Thanks everybody for being with us today, and I want to congratulate Amrutha in Camden for your scholarships, Rosario for being such a wonderful exchange student. We wish you the best on your travels, and of course Yogi for being here with us today. As you go about your week, remember that together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves, as Rotary pursues its mission to connect the world in meaningful ways. Be safe and be healthy, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Meeting adjourned.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Yep. Bye, everyone.
Auf Wiedersehen. Bleib nicht
Auf
so lange.
Wiedersehen.